says, why have you kept the best for the last? Means it must have been something very strong and potent. It's the same wine wine reasons the preacher in Greek as wine wine that Lot drank and cohabited with his daughters. Same wine wine in Greek. What Lot drank, same wine wine that Jesus turned water into wine. This is an excuse. The only religion which says don't touch it is Islam. You listen to this Allah's command, solution is there. You don't listen, you're clever. Your cleverness now is coming in. Your preachers, he says, about the preacher, Brother Jimmy Swaggart. He says he went to the bank. He must be going very often, but he goes to a certain bank manager, and he says, you know who are the worst payers? Asking Jimmy. He says, no. He says, preachers, painters, and prostitutes. 3 P's. P, P, P. The banker says. And Jimmy says, he said, I agree. I agree. He said, I don't know about painters and prostitutes, but I do know about preachers. This is his testimony. I said, look, these are the born again. Those who have the Spirit in them. They said the Spirit permeates in them. When you speak to them, say, the Spirit is telling me this, and the Spirit is telling me. And his direct communication with God. God speaks to him, he says, son, son.
The Lord, I believe, spoke to my heart and said, you tell this distinguished gentleman this.
When you speak to them, say, the Spirit is telling me this, and the Spirit is telling me. And his direct communication with God. God speaks to him, he says, son, son. Which he didn't speak to his own son, in inverted commas, Jesus Christ. He never addressed him as son. He speaks in the third person about his own son, in inverted commas, his own son. But when it comes to anybody, everybody, all of these people, they say God speaks to them. You know, if I had the chance, I say, what language? What language was he talking to you in? English? What language? Hebrew? Greek? And he called you son. In this one instance, a son again and a son again. He said, look, in certain problems, he said, look, I cannot tell you. God told him, I cannot tell you. I said, why couldn't? Why couldn't he tell you? Didn't he know the answer? Oh, you were not fit. Why cannot he tell you? You ask me a question, either I'm ignorant, I don't know, or I said, no, I can't tell you, not now. I'll tell you on the way out. There might be a reason.
He said, you tell Mr. Deedat if it was God that spoke to me.
But when it comes to anybody, everybody, all of these people, they said God speaks to them. You know, if I had the chance, I say, what language? What language was he talking to you in? English? What language? Hebrew? Greek? And he called you son. In this one instance, a son again and a son again. He said, look, in certain problems, he said, look, I cannot tell you. God told him, I cannot tell you. I said, why couldn't he tell you? Didn't he know the answer? Oh, you were not fit. Why cannot he tell you? You ask me a question, either I'm ignorant, I don't know, or I said, no, I can't tell you, not now. I'll tell you on the way out. There might be a reason. But the relationship, born again, there are 75 million born again Christians in America, according to Billy Graham in his book, How to Be Born Again. 75 million means 1/3 of America are angelic. They got the Spirit of God in them, 1/3, besides the preachers, 1/3. And Jesus says, a little leaven, leaveneth the whole. You need a little yeast to ferment the whole loaf. If you have 1/3 yeast in your bread, 1/3, and if it doesn't ferment the loaf, I said there's something wrong with your yeast. Yeast, this is what you're talking about. The Bible does speak about the Holy Prophet of Islam. I have written a book expounding the verse I started with. قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ إِنْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ وَكَفَرْتُمْ بِهِ وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ عَلَى مِثْلِهِ. You get that book. The title of the book is What the Bible Says About Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fully detailed. On this verse, I give 15 different reasons to prove that that prophecy, I'm quoting in the Bible, from the Bible, does not refer to Jesus but to Muhammad. Now, what you have to do, you owe it to yourself. Get the book, read it, memorize the verse. You don't do that. You are here for entertainment. I know, you like to be entertained. Everything is entertaining you, so you come along to see this new entertainer. No? No. You owe it to yourself. In this environment, look, you can change the people. Wallah, and I tell you, it is the destiny of Islam to change this country. You have it. Allah has given it to us. He's telling us in the Quran, He's given you a deen. It's the liyuzahirahu ala deen kulli, is to master, overcome and supersede every other deen, every other way of life, whether it be Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianism, communism, every ism. Islam is destined to master them all. So, walau karihal kafirun, no mind how much the unbeliever might not like it. And he repeats the same formula in the Quran again. And he ends by saying, walau karihal mushrikun, no mind how the mushrik might not like it. This is the destiny of his deen. And he repeats the same formula again in the Quran 3 times. He says, huwa allazi arsala rasulahu bil huda. He it is who has sent his messenger with guidance, wa dinil haq, and with the religion of truth, liyuzhirahu ala din kulli, that it may prevail, overcome and supersede every other deen, bulldoze them all. Wa kafa billahi shahida. And enough is Allah is a witness to this fact that He's going to make His deen to prevail with you or without you. But we human rubbish, I say all of you, you and me, Allah is giving us that opportunity to serve His deen, do a prophet's God and earn a prophet's reward. Allah has given you the answers, solution to the problems. Help them, and by helping them you help yourself. Change them and you have changed the world. We have a tradition that towards the end of time, the sun will rise from the west. The sun will rise from the west. How do you understand it? The sun, we know, the sun does not rise in the east and it doesn't set in the west. It's an illusion that's been created. We know that the earth is rotating on its axis, and while it's rotating, it's giving the impression that the sun is rising and the sun is setting. The sun doesn't rise and the sun doesn't set. This is the illusion that's been created by the rotation of the earth on its axis. So if the sun is to rise from the west, the way we see it, then the earth must come to a standstill and go into reverse gear. That's the only way it can rise from the west. Stand still, it's moving at 1,000 miles an hour at the moment, that you know, and it's going to come to a standstill, apply brakes, and then turn the other way. You won't be here to see the sights. You won't see them. Wallah, everything will be washed away into the oceans. Once Allah applies the brakes, the oceans will flow over and there won't be anything. The highest peak will be all washed away. So, where is the fun of the sun rising in the west? I said, no, it's the sun of Islam. The knowledge of Islam, the knowledge of God will rise from the west. And this nation is hungry. They go for anything. Anything goes here. They worship Sun Myung Moon. They worship Guru Maharaj, Swami Prabhupada. They worship the Maharishi. They worship Father Divine. They used to worship, he's dead now. Father Divine. You have the Satan worshipping cult here. Anything, everything. The nation is hungry, is frustrated. He doesn't know what to do. They see all the filth around them. They don't know what to do. Anything that comes across, they grab. What's wrong with you? I said, there's something wrong with you, you Muslims. 2 million here, all like emasculated people. Wallah, you've got such inferiority complexes beyond imagination. In this country here, the most advanced country on earth, civilized with all this technology, you are like spineless people. Wallah, spineless Muslims. More especially I'm talking about those who have come from the east. Whether you are an Arab or a Pakistani or a Bangladeshi or an Indonesian, all spineless people. What you have done to me when I came here in 77, what you're doing to me now. I can see spineless people, emasculated people, castrated people. You got no spirit, no vim, no energy, no militancy in you. I come in 77 and a lecture tour, and I phoned from New York to a station further west. Muslim habitation, population. I said, now I'm coming. He says, what will you lecture on? Subject. I says, what the Bible says about Muhammad. It's a very good starter, very easy to get started, about comparative religion, that book, that subject. He said, right. According to the appointed time and date, I arrive. What have you advertised? They give me a pamphlet, not like this, but small leaflet, what do you call it, flyer. It says there, a prophet in the Bible. Ahmad Deedat will speak on a prophet in the Bible. I said, you understand English? You university students? You monkeys? A prophet? I said, what is a